Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm John O'Hara.
And I'm Sophie Lyon. Here's what's coming up on the programme today.
Andy Burnham has said the government did not understand the impact its decisions were having on people's lives during the COVID inquiry today.
It's hard to say because we weren't getting any guidance from a national level.
Disability charities have questioned the government's autumn statement as 370,000 people are set to have benefits cut.
And people of Manchester are being encouraged to adopt rather than shop for their new four-legged friend.
The Mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham, is being questioned about his role during the pandemic at the COVID inquiry today.
We are joined by Johnny Kenwright in the studio. Hi Johnny, tell us the latest.
Well, today Andy Burnham has spent majority of the afternoon talking to the COVID-19 inquiry in London, and he's been talking mostly about the government's actions during the pandemic.
Has Andy Burnham...
It's hard to say because we weren't getting any guidance from a national level. It wasn't been made clear to us, what we should be doing. So we were, as I say, we were putting together the picture ourselves and beginning to develop the structures that we thought we were going to need to get us through what lay ahead. So it's always with hindsight, you would say, well, it would have been better had we done it earlier.
Has Andy Burnham mentioned his thoughts on how the government handled the pandemic?
Well, he spoke mostly about how Manchester had no consultation whatsoever when the stay-at-home guidance got changed to stay alert, and that was in the start of the pandemic. He also spoke a little bit about how there was no financial support to parts of Greater Manchester in sectors like hospitality. Places like Bolton were told 24 hours after they closed on, say, the Monday they would be opening again because the restrictions had changed. And he also spoke a little bit about the guidance from central government, which you said, which there was a lack of.
For Greater Manchester, that Lancashire should have a lighter set of measures imposed than Greater Manchester, since they had shown willingness to cooperate. Tougher measures should be imposed on Greater Manchester that day, because we stood up for people in our city region who would otherwise have really struggled had they gone into that lockdown without the funds to help them. Because we took that stand, they decided to make an example of us.
So Johnny, what else has been mentioned during today's inquiry?
Well, he also spoke a little bit about the tier system. I don't know if you remember that in the back end of 2020. He spoke a little bit more about that.
Okay, perfect. I remember the tier system, and at the time it was dreadful, really. It was really badly managed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and because Manchester was moved into tier 3, other parts of the country weren't moved into that same tier system. So Andy Burnham just outlining the fact that he thought it was unfair that Manchester was moved into a tier system that they'd been in that for such a long time. He also said that Boris Johnson didn't seem to be aware of how long Greater Manchester had actually even been under lockdown restrictions at the time. But evidence is still being given today and in the coming days, so we'll continue to keep you updated on the latest.
Well, thank you for that, Johnny. Video has been circulating on social media of a rap video that was filmed inside Forest Bank Prison in Salford. Inmates reportedly used smuggled phones to record it before posting on YouTube, with officers nowhere to be seen. Dr. Naomi Murphy, who worked in prisons for decades and now runs a podcast on prison life and reform, spoke about how potentially dangerous this footage is.
Well, I suppose the issue is about what else they're doing with those phones. Actually they may well be recording people who don't know that they're being recorded, or maybe recording for purpose of bullying. So something could look quite harmless and innocent, but actually it is, there are reasons why people don't have access to mobile phone technology in prison, and those are about grounds of security.
A Manchester student who has been awarded a mega £30,000 scholarship for his studies has debuted his film in Culture in Gambia.
Mohammed Bitai is the first person in Manchester to receive this grant. Our reporter Jessica Candy has been talking to him about this opportunity.
It is here at Screen and Film School Manchester where Mohammed has spent almost 3 years studying film production. Here he had the opportunity to debut Heritage for an intimate crowd, which bridged the gap in between his career and his culture. Identity and culture, the two topics the short film explores, documenting Bitay's journey to his homeland, the Gambia. How do you feel about Heritage now that it's been done, produced, and it's out on film festivals?
It's very good that it's out, because then I can just stop worrying about it now. But then the stress about have you won something or is in the festivals now and stuff like that comes to play. But I mainly care about the story being heard. I can tell you this, you got to be free. My turn. Bitay's work reached the height of talented German director and cinematographer Fabian Wagner, who has worked on Game of Thrones and Justice League amongst many other credible projects. Through application, Bitay became the first in Manchester to have such an opportunity. Not a lot of people get to do this, so I'm very lucky to be in this kind of position and being able to use equipment, being able to have access to high-end equipment. Heritage has been selected for international film festivals, including the Silicon Valley African Film Festival and the Liftoff Global Network, becoming one of his biggest achievements in his career so far. Just go out and shoot, that's it. If you're interested in film, just go out and shoot.
The leader of a Salford-based disability group has said that whilst the Back to Work plan released in the autumn statement is a good idea, some will continue to struggle to find work.
If after 18 months of intensive support, job seekers have not found a job, we'll roll out a programme requiring them to take part in mandatory work placement to increase their skills and improve their employability. And if they choose not to engage with the work search process for 6 months, we will close their case and stop their benefits.
We're now joined in the studio by Afifa Raza to talk about this.
Well, after the autumn statement, I spoke to Pete Bainbridge, the leader of Salford Autism Group, who says that whilst the government's plan is a good initiative, at the same time they are not taking into consideration the damaging effects it can have to those who physically cannot work.
I think the big problem with it all is that nobody objects to working if they can. Right. And it's a sensible proposition that most people in the country would get behind. However, it's a matter of how it's applied. There are a lot of people who want to work, who can't, but a lot of other people won't understand why not.
So have any other charities shared their thoughts?
Yes, the National Disability Charity Sense have commented on the recent statement. They are saying that the government needs to reform the benefit system so that it truly meets disabled people's needs and recognises the extra costs that come with being disabled.
Thank you, Afifa.
And the first ever dog adoption fair came to Manchester this weekend. With almost 100 dogs currently in Manchester Dogs Home, more people are being encouraged to adopt, not buy.
Our reporter Hannah Vaness went to meet some furry friends.
In a new partnership between Affinity Living and Manchester Dogs Home, prospective dog owners have been given a new way to start their adoption journey. With photos and descriptions of dogs waiting to be adopted, Manchester Dogs Home are encouraging people to adopt, not shop. John T has been volunteering for the charity for the last 11 years and has his own rescue dog.
It was weird because I've just lost my dog of 18 years and I didn't want another dog, but I'd gone into work about 2 weeks later and my partner came up and said, I found the perfect dog, and I said, I've told you, we're not having another dog. And then the manager said, would you please take Maggie just on foster for 72 hours and then bring her back just to get her sort of out of the environment of kennels. So I said, okay, 72 hours and that's it. 7 years later, she's still with me. Before you go out there and buy the dog, go and have a look at what's in your local kennels, what's in the local charities. Give a dog a second chance, because Maggie's proved it to me. She was only 6 months old when I got her. I adopted her and she's been a trained gun dog. She's now going towards a therapy dog. She knows sign language, and it gave me a lease of life as well.
With support from local dog brands selling pooch-related products, the profits went towards raising money. The RSPCA estimates 664,000 dogs enter shelters in the UK each year, but only 110,000 of these dogs are rehomed.
The rates of rehoming dogs has tripled over the last few months. Obviously with the cost of living skyrocketing, people can't afford to keep the dogs anymore, so they've seen a lot of puppies being rehomed that were only just purchased within the last 2 years. So today was all about finding homes, wasn't it, and raising as much money and awareness as we can, because obviously before Christmas as well, people are going to be looking for those dogs, and obviously we do say dogs for life, not for just for Christmas, but at least today, if you can rehome a dog and give them a bit of a better chance.
The whole event is to sort of create awareness, and so people can actually look at the pictures of the dogs and decide if they'd like to adopt.
All the way around the event is pictures of dogs, particularly the ones that have been here the longest or rehomed the longest, so some of them are over 2 years, and then they've got some computer tablets out, so you can look at the details of the dogs and put applications in today, and get some information. So we've got a few looking already, so it will make me cry, so I can't talk about that, but that's how important it is.
The charity have already raised £500 through direct donations and expect to raise even more.
So Sophie, have you ever thought about getting a rescue dog?
I have done. I don't currently have one at the moment because my house doesn't allow dogs, so I would have a dog if I could, but not currently. What about you?
Yeah, fair. So back home I've got a dog, I've actually got a pug, but up here no pets at all. We were thinking about getting a gerbil once, but again, no pets in a uni house really, is it? It's a shame.
That's the problem I'm facing. What's your dog called?
He's called Alfie. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
And I think he's 7 years old now.
Oh, if I get a dog, I'll definitely rescue in the future.
Yeah, no, I think that would be good really, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and now we have the weather with Callum Ewing, looking at the forecast for Salford and Manchester over the next week.
I hope you all... Hello there, Ethel. I hope you've all had a wonderful news day. I'm sure you're fascinated to know what's happening weather-wise. Well, today started off with a lot of rain, but as we move through the evening, the band of rain will thankfully continue to move away as it becomes a cloudy and overcast evening. The temperatures will remain a cool -2, but thankfully... So expected defrost. Oh my god, I've actually ruined this. The temperature will remain cool at around 3 or 4 degrees, a contrast to the boiling newsroom. As we get into the early hours of Tuesday, the skies will become clear and dry as the cold air mass starts to cover Salford. This will lead to freezing temperatures of around -2, so expect to defrost your car in the morning. As we reach Tuesday, it will remain a dry day with a spot of sunshine, meaning a bright but cold day will be in store for us. Of course, the big question is whether there will be any snow in the coming week. Well, I'm afraid not. Not in Salford at least. There isn't predicted to be any snow for this week. As you can see from the graphic, from Wednesday onwards, the temperature will stay around 4 degrees during the day and sink into as low as -4 during the evening, so hot water bottles may be required. Clouds will persist throughout the week, and with patches of rain threatening to fall throughout Wednesday and Sunday. Have a great rest of the day. I'm going back indoors because it's cold out here and I really should have worn some gloves. Goodbye.
That's all we've got time for today. Thank you for watching.
Tune in tomorrow for more Quays news. Goodbye.